Just a friendly reminder that we're having a 35% off sale on our merch at redpoppyranch.com. Remember when you go to checkout to use Spring35 to get the discount.
There's not much left. We're so grateful to all you guys that chose to get something. I knew this was going to happen. There's literally not much left. If you want anything Red Poppy Ranch that's likely going to be discontinued here real quickly, redpoppyranch.com. Use code SPRING35 to get 35% off. Again, thank you to all you guys that chose to get some merch.
And also remember, it's Father's Day coming up. It'd be a perfect gift for that
Thanks
man
again.
in your life.
That man in your life. Thanks again. So normally I come out here in the morning, and when I let the chickens out, I gather the eggs. And this morning, Cedar took care of it, and she said that there was 5 eggs when there should have been probably 40, because I forgot to collect them one day. That means there should have been two days worth of eggs, and there was not enough eggs, which tells me the chickens are laying them somewhere else. And I think I just saw one jump down from on top of the hay bale. I think they're right up there. So let's see how many eggs we have up here. Come on, baby. Well, there we go. There it is. I'm going to send Cedar a little video because we found the 40 eggs we were missing for sure, but I think there's more down there.
Want to fill that thing up?
Cedar said there should be exactly 40 eggs, and that's what I counted, but she's going to take them inside and give them the float test just to make sure they're all good. There were a few questionable eggs that ended up on the compost pile, but we also have a broody hen that's in the middle of trying to hatch out some eggs, and she can be a little cranky sometimes. While I'm working my way up the hillside cleaning up brush, I'm also getting ready to put about 200 posts in the ground so I can get this deer pen finished up. But before I put the posts in the ground, I have to treat them to make the posts last as long as they possibly can. The state of Idaho requires that any post that I put in the ground for the fallow deer pen be a certain diameter, and they are also required to be treated, so I can either buy treated posts or I can treat the posts myself. And because of cost, clearly I choose to treat the posts myself. But I need to build some sort of a setup where I can treat more than 10 posts at a time and do it without killing my back. The county that I live in requires that I stop burning brush on the 1st of June, and frankly, it's already gotten pretty warm and it looks like it's going to be an extra warm summer. So I need to get as much brush burned as I can in the next couple of days. I had grand ideas that I could do all of this brush clearing and burning by hand and do it over winter in a much less invasive way. And the truth is, there's just so much that has to be done that I had to get in the excavator and literally make tracks. And as much as running the excavator up the side of the mountain and tearing the ground up is not my favorite thing, it's required to get all of this brush cleaned up in the time frame that I have to work in. Once the brush piles are all cleaned up and burned, from that point on, I'm going to let nature take its course, and all of the latent seeds that are in the ground will come to life. After over 9 years of clearing brush and watching what happens to our land as the brush gets cleared, I have a pretty good example of what can happen. Typically the first year after the brush cleanup happens, there's a lot of invasive weeds that come in. But that third and fourth year can be magical, and I have the hillside right directly behind our house to look at, because that was the very first place I started clearing land, again over 9 years ago. One of the most significant factors about clearing the land comes down to time. It takes a lot of time to go through this stuff and pile it up and burn it. And I'm here to tell you that without you guys and YouTube, there's no way I would have enough time to go through these trees and do what I've done. And just to put it into perspective, I've been burning brush and clearing portions of our land for 9 years, and I would guess I've worked through maybe 5 or 6 of the 80 plus acres that we own. So, from me to you, thank you for giving me the time to work through our land and do what I've been able to do. The truth is, everything about our place, as far as the land is concerned, is really a horrible location to do what I'm trying to do for our fallow deer. it would be best to do this on flat ground somewhere that doesn't have so many trees and maybe a lot more grass, but that's not the land that I own, and clearly I'm not afraid to put a little bit of work into things to make it work for all of us. As a husband and a father, I believe I have an obligation to those that depend on me to constantly try and improve upon my position. And by clearing this land and thinning the trees and making it more habitable for our deer, that's exactly what I'm doing. In the early days, I had numerous people tell me that we would never be able to live full-time up here because it would just be too hard. And after doing it for many years now, we know that it is hard, but we also know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And if we simply keep working on the things that need work, our life and our position gets better. Four years from now, I'm going to look out my master bedroom window, and the hillside over here where I'm cleaning up the brush should look exactly like the hillside right behind our house. And that will be the moment that I'll smile and be grateful I took the time to do this. And by the way, I cannot say enough good things about my old Bobcat 435 excavator. The thing just keeps on trucking no matter what. All right, so it is about that time. The lighting's not great in the utility room in here, but I'm about to change the filters out on our water filtration system. And I haven't made a video about this in a while, and I thought I would make one today simply to explain that our water filtration system hasn't changed a whole lot since I originally installed it because it's very effective. But the one part of our water system that has changed, matter of fact, it's changed 5 times, is the tankless water heater. And it's about to get changed again. We originally installed an A.O. Smith Takagi tankless water heater. It lasted 1 year, and I originally had one for the house and one for the shop. And after the tankless water heater started leaking, I just installed the one for the shop here, and I warranted the first one, and A.O. Smith warranted it for me. And the water heater that I installed second lasted almost exactly a year again. And the same thing happens every single time. It's the condensing unit inside those tankless water heaters. It cracks or it breaks, something like that, and starts leaking. All 4 A.O. Smith Takagi water heaters that I installed here, every single one of them had the same issue at about that 1 year mark, which was the condensing unit inside of it starts leaking. So the last time I tried to warranty it, A.O. Smith said that they wouldn't even warranty it if I tried to again. So clearly I'm done with A.O. Smith. I installed this Navian tankless water heater over winter, kind of just to get us by. I knew I was going to update it to a better one. The Navians are now the one that everybody talks about in the plumbing industry, but I personally have no experience with them. But that's the next one that I'm going to install probably here in another month or two. But that's the only aspect of our water system that has really changed. But what we do have is the temperature that the water comes in, that these tankless water heaters have to heat up. That water out of the bottom of our well is almost always like 34 degrees. And so I think that's the part that is really hard on these tankless water heaters. Regardless, I need to change the filters in our system it's time to do it. Last week I put 2 cups of bleach into our shallow well. I let it get pumped all the way up through the tanks and throughout the property. And now it's time to change these filters out. I change the filters once a year. It starts with a sediment filter, and then it goes to just basically a carbon block filter. And then I have a 10-inch 3/4 Big Blue filter to catch the sediment that comes out of these water heaters. What I found was all the aerators were regularly getting plugged up, and so I put just basically to catch the sediment coming through, and it does a very good job catching that calcium and the stuff that comes out of the hot side. And the only other part of the system is this UV light that treats all of our water with UV light. So the way it works, as the water comes in, it goes through the first sediment filter, then it hits the carbon block filter, which is going to make the water taste better. Sounds like Cedar's using the water heater. And then I have the anti-scale filter before the water goes into the tankless water heater. And then as the water comes out, I have the Big Blue 10-inch filter catching any of the calcium. So today we're going to change the 10-inch Big Blue and the 220s. There's been years when the paper towels would just be black. So what that tells me is our well's getting rid of all the sediment, all the early sediment that probably was in there from when I dug it up. That's the sound of our batteries charging. Our Lion Energy battery system charging. On the top and on the bottom of these carbon blocks, they have a gasket that commonly guys leave behind in the bottom of the filter, and also up top here. I like to check them, make sure I get everything pulled out of there the way they're supposed to be removed. So that's the cleanest this has ever been, which again I think is an indication that the runoff wasn't very bad this year, but also I think it's just the well is maturing, and there should be less and less sediment going through it. I try not to touch these with my bare hands if I don't have to. That's what that filter does right there. It catches any of the loose sediment that comes out of the tankless water heater and keeps it from ending up in the aerators and the sinks and places like that. That's what that is right there. All right, I think we're ready to turn the water back on and check for leaks here. Okay, no leaks, no drips, water's back on. Sounds like the washing machine's filling up with the Oh, it just shut off. Okay. When I redo the tankless water heater setup later this summer, I'm going to change out the anti-scale filter, and I'm also going to add an expansion tank to our system. But other than that, the system's great. I actually think that we'll probably have a little bit better pressure on the hot water side since I changed that filter. That thing was pretty plugged. Cedar's been saying to me for a couple of months that she thinks the water pressure on the hot side was getting lower and lower. And to me, I assumed it was the water heater. This is an older model Navian water heater, again, that I installed just to get by. I'm going to update this with a newer version of this water heater. And then hopefully that tankless water heater lasts me many years. But I try to keep things as simple as I can keep them. And I always try to think about who's going to do this stuff when I'm not here. And this is all standard. These are all standard filters you can buy either online or even at a local supply house. And it filters our water down to where it's more than safe. To me, our water is the best drinking water I've ever tasted. And by changing the filters, that should only get better. So. I typically soak the fence posts for anywhere from 2 to 3 days to as much as 2 weeks. I've only got a couple of days left that I can burn, and I'm really getting to a point where I want to do something else other than sit in the excavator and clean up the hillside. It seems like I've been doing this for years. But that being said, I can't wait to look up on the hillside a few years from now and again remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing. There are days that I tell myself that nobody truly understands how much work it takes to do something like this unless they've really, truly done it. And there really aren't too many examples around me of people that have done it this way. So, at the end of this week, when I'm all finished burning brush for this particular summer, I'm going to start putting fence posts in the ground and start stretching fence. I still have close to 3/4 of a mile of fencing that I plan on putting up this summer, so I've got a lot of work in front of me that has to be done. At some point, I also need to build a shelter for the deer to keep them out of the weather, and I also need to move a yard hydrant up here. You're not going to get to see the conclusion on this week's video, but I promise on next week's video, the drone is going to show you just how much we've done in the last 6 months over here in the Big Deer Pen. Thank you guys for checking in on us, and we will see you very soon.